All right, everyone, welcome to 10 Days to Renew. So incredibly excited to bring you the content over the next 10 days. So I want to make something crystal clear though as we start this. One of the things that people have said to us in the past is that there's a lot of content and a lot of information that's going to come at you over the next 10 days. You do not have to do it all, right? One of the big things with living now in 2024 is that we have a lot on our plate all the time and we feel like we have to do everything. This is a reset for you. This is not, oh, I've got to check every box. This is not, oh, I've got to do this perfectly. This is an opportunity to stop and go, okay, what is reasonable? What can I actually get done? And what's going to push the needle for me the most? So the way that 10 Days to Renew works is that you're going to get your email from us the night before every day. And in there is going to be your exercise for the next day, your meditation for the next day, and your link to the teaching for the next day. Okay. So that's all there and it's not going to go anywhere. So if you decide that, you know what, it's reasonable for me to do 5 out of 10 days of exercise and to meditate 7 days in a row, whatever it is for you, do that. There is no right or wrong way to do this program. And that's what I want to just say off the bat, because I don't want any of you feeling like you are not meeting some requirement in 10 Days to Renew. 10 Days to Renew is not about checking the boxes. It is about giving yourself some time as a reset to focus on those things that your body needs. So there's 2 things that make us sick typically. So one is going to be toxicity and one is going to be deficiency, right? So something has entered our body, something is in our environment, something is in our thought pattern that is creating like a toxic response. So that can definitely be a bad relationship. It can be bad food. It can be a certain type of exercise that's too much and it's just causing our body too much. It can be something environmental, right? There's a lot of things that can cause a toxic response in our body. The other thing that happens is that we're deficient in something. So we might be deficient, say, in exercise, right? That's a big one. We might be deficient in the amount of water we drink. We might be deficient in the ability of our nervous system to work properly, right? That's where chiropractic comes in. If your nervous system has a lot of stress in it, it's not going to work properly and there'll be a deficiency there. We might be deficient in sleep. That's a huge one. And we're going to have a whole day dedicated to sleep. So I want, from that framework of toxicity and deficiency, I want to put 10 Days to Renew into that box so that this does not become something toxic to you. Because it's going to be toxic if you look at this and you sit down and you go, holy Hannah, there's so much here, right? Then it's just not, that is not the intended purpose of this program. The intended purpose of this program is to give you a framework and figure out where you are on the continuum, to give you a framework to say, okay, I know that I need to upgrade and improve a few areas of my life. I know that I cannot binge watch shows until 11:30 at night anymore. I know that my snacking habit after 9 o'clock, I've got to get rid of. I know that I've been burning the candle too hard at both ends and I've got to give myself a little bit of a break. Whatever it is for you, right? Whatever it is within the constructs of how your life works. And here's the thing. I've done my job for almost 20 years. I have seen and worked with thousands of people. And one thing stands out above all, always. The most challenging thing for 98% of us is us, right? We create so much of the challenge in our lives for ourselves. And we're not, I don't think it's self-sabotage. I don't think we're out to self-sabotage. I think it's just that we have, these old stories that come up all the time and we tell ourselves that we can't do something or that we're not good enough to do something or that it has to be in a certain way or that if it's not met to this criteria, then it's just not going to fly, right? These are these things that, these ideas that, and really the stories, like I said, that I think are so important that we let go of as we go through this process. This process is about meeting you where you are, and then what are the tweaks that you can add in that you are excited about adding in that don't feel like a stress to upgrade to the next level. I'm going to use sleep as an example again. There's things as we go through the sleep module that really are easier to implement than others. We're going to talk about a few supplements that are helpful with sleep. We're going to talk about the exercise discussion when it comes to sleep. We're going to talk about when to eat. We're going to talk about when to drink. We're going to talk about caffeine. We're going to talk about sleep hygiene. We're going to talk about all those things. Some of those habits are going to be more cumbersome and some of those habits are going to be easier. So start wherever you are on the continuum and add in what you can to start to change the dial so that you're moving away from deficiency in sleep, right? Just as an aside, totally aside here, squirrel, what happens with sleep is that when we are in the deepest stages of sleep, is that is when our body will clear out inflammation. It'll clear out byproducts of pain. It'll clear out all the nasties, right? So not only if you are deficient in like hours of sleep, is that one thing, but then you are also creating deficiency in not allowing the toxicity to be removed from your body, right? So again, these concepts of toxicity and deficiency. So there's a few kind of fundamentals to know as you go through 10 days to renew. So this, I've hit on number one. Number one, it is about you. It is not about me. It's not about anyone else in the program. It's about you. It's about you creating a state of ease in your body so that when you wake up in the morning, when you wake up on day 10, when you wake up on day 5, you're going to wake up and you're going to go, yeah, good. I'm good. I'm doing it. I'm doing the things I want to do. I'm not regretting, to whatever it was from the night before. I'm not regretting that I didn't exercise. I'm not feeling the weight of not meditating. I'm good, right? So you wake up in the morning and you've implemented as many habits as you can so that when you wake up, you feel like you're in a state of ease, a state of alignment, and you feel like you are moving the dial towards better health. One of the kind of fundamental principles that really shapes 2024's 10 days to renew is the principle of health span, is the idea of how you can create health throughout the lifespan, right? And as we go through this discussion and we go through each different teaching every day, we're going to be looking at how those things can be implemented and brought in to what's going on. So you wake up in the morning, you're in this state of ease, you've learned something new from the day before, you've learned a new journaling exercise, a new breathwork exercise, and you wake up and you're excited and ready to go for the next day. If you hit that point, halfway through 10 days to renew, or even at the end of 10 days to renew, where you wake up and you're like, yeah, me, I'm doing it, then you have won in this process. So again, you determine how much or how little you're throwing into this right now. You determine if it's going to take 30 days to do 10 days, whatever it is. Set out that framework for yourself. Determine what that is. Determine what a pass is on this program without setting the bar too high. And then know as you get halfway through and you followed through with those habits and those changes that you're going to wake up in that morning and you're going to go, right on. I'm doing it. I am doing what I told myself I was going to do, so that 98% of us that are getting in our own way, we are just doing the simple stuff over and over and over to actually feel that the dial's starting to move. Because guess what? When someone comes in and they've got migraines, they've got low back pain, they've got frozen shoulder, whatever it is, they've got stress that's so intense that they can't hardly function, right? Whatever it is that someone's coming in with, there are these fundamental principles that get them well. There is no silver bullet. Chiropractic works really well for a whole bunch of things. There's lots of things that work really well for a whole bunch of things. But again, in years and years of practice, the one thing that I come back to all the time is that it's the simple, fundamental pieces that move the dial. And this is what 10 Days to Renew is based on. It's based on these simple, fundamental pieces. So if you are not sleeping as well as possible, it's harder to heal. If you are not eating to give your body all the required nutrients and protein and carbohydrates and fat that you need, it's harder to heal. If you are not moving, then my goodness, we're going to talk a lot about this. You are going to age at a vastly accelerated rate compared to those people that are moving their body, and it's harder to heal. It's these fundamentals. There is no silver bullet to regaining health and to getting stronger and to increasing vitality and to increasing longevity. there are definitely pieces of information that you're going to glean throughout the next 10 days that are going to make that process a whole lot easier, right? Like especially the hormonal piece. If you're struggling with hormones and, there's these little tweaks that we can add in here in terms of how to help regulate hormones, especially during perimenopause and menopause, and you can learn 2 or 3 things that you can add in, for sure, that's going to help make life easier. But then again, it's just adding to that fundamentals. It's the fundamentals every single time. When a basketball player or a tennis player or someone that's really, really excellent at piano or whatever it might be, it's practicing the fundamentals always. And that's why 10 Days to Renew is what it is. It's about coming back to the fundamentals and putting them into a framework that we can deliver to you that makes it easy. So let's go through what your days are going to look like. So starting tomorrow, starting Monday, what's going to happen is that you're going to go through the email at your pace. You're going to have your meditation for the day, you're going to have your exercise for the day, and you're going to have your teaching for the day. Go through those at the rate that you want. Again, if you're doing the meal plan, hopefully you've prepped all weekend and you've got your meals ready to go. As far as the meal plan goes, you want to stick to it as much as possible. I have gotten a few questions from you about a number of things, and there's lots of ways to tweak the meal plan to make it easier for you. So if you need my help with that, please do let me know. But stick to it as much as you can. If you are hungry, drink a big glass of water and then eat, right? One of the there's a few hard and fast rules, as I mentioned before: gluten, sugar, and dairy. You decide whether or not you're going to eliminate alcohol. I will be eliminating coffee during the 10 days, but I'm going to. So if you want to do it with me, I will be suffering with you. I will use some black tea and some green tea for sure. So you decide what level you want to go to with that. I will also be eliminating alcohol for that time frame. I will also be totally eliminating sugar, even the recipes that call for sugar. It's a tiny amount of sugar, but if you want to substitute, what I typically do is just use a little bit of maple syrup. And then I can't eat gluten and dairy anyway, so that's a norm for me. So that's the other piece, is if no gluten and dairy is totally new to you and you're like, holy Hannah, this feels totally overwhelming, please reach out. There's so many amazing recipes and alternatives and different hacks that you can use when you are gluten and dairy free that are really, really helpful. Again, the recipes are plant forward. So if you want to make this completely vegan, there are options throughout there to do that. If you want to use some meat, we use some chicken and some fish. We are not using red meat or pork intentionally through this process. I'm not vilifying red meat and pork, not at all. It's just for the process of these 10 days, I have chosen to eliminate them in the food plan. You want to shoot for, I'm going to say shoot for 2 to 3 liters of water a day. If that, for whatever reason, for medical conditions is not doable for you, shoot for whatever the max is that you can. If you drink a lot of caffeine, if you drink a fair amount of alcohol at night, that number needs to be higher. So if you are creating things that are difficult on the body, you want to push that number up. As far as sleep goes, we are going to get to that fairly early in the program. I think it's on day 2 is about sleep. Set up a sleep hygiene schedule. So my recommendation would be that your phone is turned off 2 hours before bed so that you don't have screen exposure for 2 hours before bed. You do not eat for 2 hours before bed, and do whatever you can to get your room as dark as possible. So use whatever curtains, whatever blinds, whatever towels from just for 10 days, right? Just to test it, from the curtain rods that you need to add so that for those 10 days, your room is as dark as possible, okay? Remove or turn around any alarm clocks, any lights. Don't have a computer in your room. If you have a TV, put some duct tape over the flashing lights. Do not have any extraneous light in your room if you are struggling with sleep, okay? As far as exercise goes, you need some weights. We have 2-pound and 5-pound weights in the clinic for sale. I think they're $5 for a pair. It might be $10 for a pair, don't quote me. We have bands in the clinic. We have, I think that's pretty much all you need. So if you don't have those things, do try and get them. If you do not have hand weights and you want to just do the exercises with bands, that's totally doable. Maybe reach out and let me know though, so I can send you the alternatives. You need a place to stretch. You need comfortable clothes. You need running shoes. There is going to be a kind of general exercise plan that will go out. There will also be an advanced exercise plan. So if you are exercising a lot, there will be included in there a protocol for it's a 6-day plan, but then you'll just repeat it going forward from there. Okay, so it'll just repeat for it's 12 days, but you get my point. So that is in there. That is truly for if you are already doing weightlifting, if you're already doing HIIT training, if you're already doing zone 2 cardio, zone 5 cardio. Like if you're doing those things already, then this protocol is fantastic. But if that is unfamiliar to you, then don't do it. Then do the stretches. Like, my goodness, the stretches are amazing. Do the stretches, do the weight training, and do the cardio that we lay out in 10 days to renew. As far as meditation goes, if you do not like meditating, if you've never meditated, if this is really difficult for you, don't worry about it. That's what meditation is. If you get into meditation and the first 2 days you're doing it, you're like, okay, I got 2 seconds of clear brain before the thoughts started. That is normal. That's the process. I've been meditating for 20 plus years, I think. And there are days where I truly probably get 5 seconds of quiet in my head, right? That is what this is. There is no perfection to this. The other thing, and I talked about this last year in 10 Days to Renew, is maybe meditation really isn't your jam. That's totally fine. If prayer is more centering for you, use that. If sitting quietly with a cup of tea, looking out the window allows you to clear your mind, then that can be your meditation. It does not have to be anything structured the way that we lay it out, but if you want to try it, have at it. For the presenters, you're going to get a link every day for the presenter. For Lisa's presentation, which is going to have to do with a really beautiful process for stress reduction that has to do with art therapy. For her presentation, there is a list of tools or supplies that you need. Most of these things you're going to have sitting around the house. So don't stress about that. I will send that out also fairly early on in the program so that you have that. Courtney is wonderful. You're not going to be able to listen to her and not smile. And then also Adrian is going to go through some meditations. If you were with us last year, some of these will be familiar because they're just so darn good. We wanted to include them again. Dr. Janine is going to be discussing perimenopause and menopause and hormones there. I think we might have 2, at the time of recording this, I think we might have 2 spots left for reflexology appointments. And I think we have 3 spots left for the initial consultation. It's not even an initial consultation. It's a chance to go over your questionnaire, to ask any questions, to chat about your particular health challenges. I have a few spots left for that on the 12th. All of that will happen on the 12th. And then really exciting is Guelph Pilates, Pilates in Guelph is offering an opportunity for everyone that's involved in 10 Days to Renew to do a class with them. So if you're curious about that or you want to do that, then by all means, one of your days, you're going to go do a Pilates class, right? And so the link for all of that will be there. 10 Days to Renew came from a place of stress in my life and in my time. And those of you that know me, you know a little bit about me, and I don't shy away from talking about it because I think it's important. But 6 years ago, I lost my husband, and my kids were 4, 9, 10, and 13 at the time. And so I have been raising them and growing this business and doing what I do for the past 6 years. And 3 years ago, hit a point where I was pretty burnt out. Like I was tired all the time. I was not feeling like I was moving in a direction of longevity and health. And that's really where a lot of this 10 days came from. I wanted to design a plan that was not cumbersome, right? So often I would pull up these plans and I'd be like, how am I going to do this, right? It's so big. How do I do it? So I created this plan as a way to rejuvenate myself. So it has morphed from then, and it has become something much bigger and much more exciting. And every year it gets more exciting and more and kind of bigger from where it was 3 years ago. But the fact that you are sharing this journey with me today, the fact that, this came from I'm going to try not to get emotional here. The fact that this came from a place of such a hard time, and now there's 50 plus of you, 60 plus of you that are doing this all together now, because the momentum is the same. We all want to create a state for ourselves in which we're doing the best that we can, whatever that looks like, and creating the best that we can in our lives and for ourselves. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this program and to be part of this program, whatever that looks like for you. From the bottom of my heart, it means more than any of you know that you are all on this journey, and that we're sharing this together. So if you do have any questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, reach out. Today's a little bit longer because it's our introduction than we're going to do most days. Most days your video from me will be around 10 minutes. But thank you again to all of you. Massive gratitude for everyone that's putting themselves out there to do this. And our little community, although we can't see each other, and you guys, you're all in here, but you're not necessarily knowing, like I am, all the other people that are part of this. Just know that there is this force that is behind 10 Days to Renew, and that there are so many of you, not only from the Guelph community, but from outside of that are part of this. So when you are feeling, maybe it's day 3, like, oh gosh, what am I doing? There's other people feeling that too. And there's other people pulling for you. We're all gonna pull for each other through this to create increased lifespan, increased vitality, increased clarity, increased ease over the next 10 days. So thank you all. I'm so excited. I will see you again tomorrow, and way to go. Let's get started.